Welcome everybody to another webinar from Sustain Leadership webinar series. And this evening I have the pleasure of welcoming a seasoned professional entrepreneur, advisor, somebody I look up to as a mentor, a colleague and a partner, Dr. Usman Zafar. Thank you for accepting our invitation. It's really a pleasure having you with us today. Dr. Usman counts couple of decades, not that I want to make him sound old, but a couple of decades just in the region, in Dubai, working with global companies, governments, academia, advising them on disruptive technologies, on how to integrate new technologies. And that was from long time. I can recall meeting Dr. Usman in some of the smart government conferences more than 10 years ago, when he was already anticipating how the world would look like, which are things that we are seeing today have been accelerated by the crisis of COVID-19, the digitization, the smart cities, and blockchain, and all the disruptive technologies. I think he had foresight for many years. He's been already advising decision makers on how to integrate them. And today, we'll be happy to listen to him and hear about how these things have changed and how the world in 2030, that's not really a far-fetched future. I think we're almost there, it's just a decade away. What are the future jobs? And now with this acceleration of integration of technology and digital transformation, how will it impact the way even further? Please, thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Hanan, for the interview. It's my honor to be here on your series and share the knowledge. And I think it's our moral obligation as professionals who have contributed a lot extensively, especially for the region. So myself being 21 years in Dubai, have been involved in several e-gov and smart gov projects. And we have seen basically and have been involved in the change management processes and the adoption of the technology. And lucky enough, I remember in 2000, in one of the conferences around 21 years ago, we talked about the Dubai e-gov program. And then at that time, the main idea was to put all the public sector online. And then slowly and gradually, we moved from e-government to mobile government. And then from mobile government to we are talking about smart government initiatives. So we have been the part of all this journey, which the UAE have seen. And I have been lucky enough to be the board advisors with more than 60 plus international companies, which I have brought in the technology sector in Middle East, specifically in Dubai, and helped them in growing their businesses within the MENA region. So we can see that shift, and we have seen a very promising leadership behind like Dubai and UAE, other states government smart gov initiatives. And I can proudly say that Dubai have become basically one of the leaders when it comes to basically like innovative projects like smart cities, or you talk about blockchain strategy. So now we are talking about basically a paperless economy where Dubai is going to implement 2021 blockchain strategy, which means that they will be saving millions of dollars on the paper transaction. So we have seen this journey. We have seen a lot of changes. We have some of the best practices of like for the UAE government. I can give couple of like projects like Dubai Courts, for example, was one of the projects I was involved with for automation of e-notary system. And that became one of the huge success. And the case study was published by the Adobe itself in Washington, D.C. So we have seen a lot of changes, a lot of transformation. And we also seen basically the United Nations Development Program ranking, that how the GCC countries, especially UAE, they have come down, to the top 30, 20 countries around the world. And similarly, I have been a speaker many a times at United Nations and World Bank forums, and everyone, all the experts from other part of the world, just speak about the technology leap that Dubai have basically achieved. And I think down the line in the next 5 years' time, the innovative plans we have which is like talking about. I'll come on the disruptive technologies shortly, but I'm very excited to see such type of projects like drone taxis, hyperloops, point-to-point communications, autonomous cars, and blockchain implementations, paperless economy. So we are all striving, like with these innovative ideas here in UAE and particularly in Dubai itself. So the journey, as I said, like I have been a public sector director myself, and we have been involved heavily in basically changing the culture on a change management program. And I know that you have been also doing a lot of sessions on leadership and change management, which have been basically a big challenge around us. And then since like the COVID-19 have hit, the pandemic have hit the GCC region. So the landscape of doing businesses, the habit of doing businesses among the business communities, among like the individuals have been changed. So we are not the people we were like in 2019, when the pandemic was not there. So every person, every organization, they have changed a lot, and that trend have will continue for the rest of their lives. So several international companies like Microsoft, Strix, Cisco, and many others, they have announced permanently that most of their workers, they can work from home. They really don't need to come to the offices. Similarly, we have seen in pandemic, many countries have been on a severe lockdown, which have badly affected basically the commercial real estate. And this is another, area, especially when you talk about the retail industry or you talk about the large office spaces. And then the world have been working on agile HR strategies. Like if you're working in the organization and you are a remote worker, how we can create the sense of belongingness, how you can work with us, how we can make sure that you are the part of the family. So this is one of the journey which the UAE medium to large scale companies and even the public sector is going through. So as you have noticed that during the pandemic, 50% of the workforce or sometime 100%, they were working from the home office. So this is the new culture, the new adoption, which everyone is looking for. And especially in this part of the world, we are not very much used to the home working culture also. So all those companies who really wants to grow, especially the SMEs, they also have a challenge in reducing their expenses and how they can keep their head above the water. So this is where basically the technology plays an extremely important role, and innovation basically brings them and help them in working smartly and integrating their business model with the public sector also. So those are some of the initiatives we see which is impacting the business overall in this. And then we have few technology trends, like as I said, blockchain is bringing a lot of change in the economies, in the business models which the different governments they are doing. But on the other hand, it is also impacting the HR industry. So as you have been seeing me talking about the technological trends from the last 5 years, and it's happening right now.
Yes.
So most of the predictions I did around 10 years ago, that is almost there. So similarly, when you talk about the HR industry, so 60% of the jobs are going to disappear, or there will be new jobs which have not been invented yet. And why is that? Because of the technology adoption, because of healthcare industry, innovation in basically the fourth industrial revolution we talk about. So here the question is, so what sort of job opportunities will be there? How we can prepare our generation? I am at the board of different universities also, like here, including HCT, High College of Technology, and Usman University of Science and Technology. And this is where we talk about every time, all the board members, how we can push our young generation to adopt these technologies, how we can prepare them to be the champions in the technology. So world is changing very fast. So this is something we really need to look into it. So I can give some examples about some of the job which you will see will be coming. So one of them is like digital desk managers. So when the organizations who are creating different types of content, the people who are responsible for creating, managing, and delivering those content, and content basically drive your organization.
Sorry
Similarly,
to interrupt you, Dr. Usman. It's interesting that you're saying that, because every time we have a revolution, we are all just anxious about the jobs that will be lost to this automation and to this digitization of everything. But we forget that just like the previous three revolutions, yes, they make a lot of jobs obsolete, and this one will make thousands of jobs obsolete, but it will create new jobs as well. And I think we as humans, we tend to always look at what is it going to be lost. So it'd be interesting to at least give us those examples of these jobs that we aren't thinking about. So some of the audience who are listening to us can already start thinking about how they can be relevant, or how they can guide maybe their colleagues or themselves or their family members. So it gives hope that there are new jobs that we don't know about. And I have heard you speak about some conferences, and few years back it just seemed like a dream, like really, what are we talking about? How can we have jobs like that? But I think now when you share them, people will believe that.
Basically, yeah, I have always been talking about, because the technology with the adoption of blockchain, artificial intelligence, there are a lot of job opportunities there, which is very, very innovative. So one of them, I will give you an example. The digital debt managers who are responsible basically for the content for the organization. Similarly, most of the organization, medium and small scale, they are also looking for curiosity advisors. Curiosity advisors are those people who create curiosity, who manage, what you call the curiosity among the different team members, making sure that everyone is delivering. Similarly, drone is taking place. I mean, you see drone here, I think there are more than 1,000+ drones covering different events and in different verticals. And this industry is gonna go to the next level. So we are talking about drone taxis. We are talking about point-to-point communication. So drone, for example, drone drivers, they are also, or drone pilots, you can say, it's another very interesting area. Yes. And another very interesting area which is becoming very, very popular. See, all of us, we are always connected to the smartphones, and we are using different social media channels. So you need a detox therapist. When you go to the organization.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's called, and this is the detox therapist in the organization. When you go to the organization, they tell you there is no internet today. Yeah. So the large organization already, the environment, if you look into, for example, the Google environment, they do work on all these areas. Skype consultant or staging consultant, how you appear when you meet people online, how you communicate, what should be your body language. So these are some of the upcoming areas. Similarly, with the automation in the industry, you will see all these drivers who drive heavy vehicles are going to disappear, and there will be no jobs for them. The print industry is almost gone. It's being taken over by the digital thing. Similarly, the more automation you bring. So, for example, I did a couple of pilot projects in different countries for bringing robots for customer service. Yeah. So you enter. So robot can be in any shape. It can be Alexa, or it can be a proper robot. And then the more you ask questions to them, they become more intelligent. So you will see all these customer service, and you have seen many examples. Like if you go to Diva, for example, there is a small robot which helps you to pay your bills, enter the complaint. So those are the sort of adoptions. So you will see down the line, most of the customer services will be automated. Now there is a new trend which is coming up with the adoption of 5G. So you enter into the mall, you won't see anybody. You have long racks. You're sitting in your car, and while you're sitting in your car, you can do your shopping. And then when you go out, you just swipe your credit card, or you pay maybe through the digital currency. So we really need to have basically some sort of we are very good, especially in the GCC, in creating 10 years, 20 years, 30 years strategies. But one thing which is missing, which I really push while we are doing different projects, is the ethical strategy. So what we're gonna do with the people who are accountants, for example, there will be no accountant. It's gonna be fully automated. And I always claim that down the line you will see that most of these fancy web portals, and it's gonna go. Nobody will be using them. So what's the point of spending millions of dollars on such portals? Why? Because when you're connected on the internet, what do you call the accessibility of accessing the data, and how the government organizations or different departments, they are empowering me to take the decision. This is where the world is driving. So all those organizations or companies who are customer centric and they are giving decision-making power in the hand of consumers. They are the one who are leading the markets. So we see a lot of changes slowly, gradually, which is happening around us. So we talk about autonomous cars as well. So Tesla, for example, they are in the States, they have more than 3,000 plus cars, and there are like Google cars as well, who are working on a different technologies, and they are using basically those driverless cars as a taxis, and they are also trying to use it now as a delivery vehicle. In some of the European countries, you see small driving cars or robots which delivers, like your food or grocery at your home. So these are the things which is basically happening. Either we like it or we don't like it. Similarly, when you talk about the adoption of digital currency, so you will see down the line, like different countries, even the UAE have made a lot of progress in terms of, adopting digital currency, that how we can integrate our economy, what sort of the legal frameworks we need to have from the central bank to make sure that we are welcoming different type of digital currencies. China have taken a big step in adopting their own digital currency. Russia is doing the same. US in the Wall Street, they are also trying to digitize the dollar as well. So we as a country first should have the legislation framework where we accept all these type of technological adoption. We talk about smart cities. This is one of my area. I was awarded as the top 51 people globally 2 years ago for smart cities. So when you talk about smart cities, the definition of smart cities is different in different countries. Yeah. Right. So some of the countries, they said, okay, we just provide internet access. Even if you are walking on the road or you are a tourist, you sit down below the lamp, and then you can use internet. But like the countries like, for example, China, I'll give you, they have a lot of successful smart cities where even they do the profiling of the citizens, that are you a good citizen or bad citizen. So they keep watching you on all the CCTVs. They analyze your behavior, that either if you're a good, and then they rank you accordingly. So if you are doing, like if you're stealing or you're doing some bad thing, so one day will come that you won't be able to access the public transport. But if you are behaving good and you're obeying the laws as a good citizen, you might come up with some sort of an award where you can go and have a free coffee or free meals, or those type of thing. So this is where we have also here, for example, the major drive towards customer happiness. So I think Dubai is one of the cities in the world who have done a lot of work behind the customer happiness index. So like you go to buy the movie tickets, or you go into, for example, any government department, you see these three faces: angry, happy, or unhappy. But it's not only those three clicks, but it's also like there is a complete process behind it. So this is where the world is moving, and I think with the technological adoption, and especially after COVID-19, as I always said, that our lives are not going to be the same. So we have to adopt the innovative technologies in order to basically compete up with the world. Similarly, like now, if you see, the data is everything. Data is the king. Yeah. So this is another area. So the data is more important than the money at this stage. So what you can do with the data, what sort of statistics basically you can provide to the end users, to the researchers, to the students, how they can work on it, and that will help you also for a better decision making process. So this is another drive which is helping you to basically have a better decision making, reduce your cost for implementing large scale projects, and help you to provide better services to the end users.
Thank you, Dr. Usman. So how do you think, before we take a couple of questions from the audience if they have,
Sure.
Yeah, anytime, please feel free to ask questions. Well, it sounds exciting, but at the same time, it might be scary as well, because the gap probably between countries will be big. So how is that going to affect the spread? I mean, the technology and digitization is becoming a fact of life, and everything's moving so fast, but not everybody is catching up. So how do you think that's going to impact the or global relationships between countries?
Definitely, this is you hit the nail. Basically, this is something very, very important, and we really need to talk about it. See, early days when everyone was trying to adopt the e-government services or web services or website, we always use one word called digital divide. So we used to say that there is a digital divide between Arab world and like Western world, or between Western world and Africa. Yeah. But now we are talking about technological divide basically, or innovation divide. So if you want to be the part of the business, you really have to drive your country and the companies, on a global scale. And this is where the technology plays an extremely important role. Now the world biggest countries or superpowers, they are not like very much interested on the physical wars. The war is on technology at the moment. Sorry. So how well equipped you are in terms of adopting these new technologies, and what sort of facilities you are offering basically to the business users or communities to have those agile technologies which you can use and grow your business.
Yeah, for sure. I think everybody has to catch up. Otherwise, it will be difficult to do business when everything becomes digital. What about individuals? If we want to leave our audience with an advice, how can individuals make sure that they also remain relevant, they don't become obsolete? Because today you might have, decades of experience, and you might have knowledge that you think you are the expert of that knowledge, and you've been doing those same things for years and years, but probably a 15-year-old today would know how to operate or how to work with the technology. And so it's no longer about the years of experience, but rather the right and the actual or the relevant experience that, the knowledge that you have of today. Is it valid for today's world or not? Not that how many years of those. So how can we incentivize individuals to make sure that they are up to the mark as well?
Like we have, as we divide the world into four generations, starting from baby boomers, the people who are in their 80s and 90s. They are the one who have seen many wars, many changes in the society, and a lot of stuff. And then we have this millennials after 2000 and onward. The millenniums, they are well equipped to when you talk about the technology. If you see the young generation, or teenagers, they are much better than Generation X, like those who are into their 40 to 50 years of age. So they are your basically real target audience, who are the future of your country. So they are, most of them, they are like they love adopting different type of technologies. They are using multiple social platforms, and they are interacting and conducting businesses, by using those social means. So I think one of the best advice I always give to the people, that always learn. There is no ending of the learning. And the best thing you can do is, look into the YouTube videos. Go to Google YouTube videos. Like you have so much knowledge there. At any technology, for example, I spoke about 5 or 6 technologies. I talk about IoT. So you want to understand what is IoT, Internet of Things, what change it can bring, how I can use it in my business. I spoke about autonomous cars. You can Google them, with the videos and everything. I talk about blockchain. Yes, yeah. So many people mix cryptocurrency and blockchain together, and then they are always confused. So learn, and this will help you to basically adopt innovative ways of doing businesses. And there are a lot of success stories. There are a lot of startups, even in countries like India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Small startups, but they have become millionaires by using different types of innovative technologies. And at the moment now, everyone is moving from brick and mortar to click and mortar business. So online businesses is
that. Yeah, from brick and mortar to click and mortar. Okay, great.
If you are not the part of the game, it doesn't matter how good your product is, but then you will left behind. So for example, many people during the COVID-19, many of my friends, they said, okay, what shall we do? I mean, they can't go out of home in different countries. And many of them, they started e-commerce business. And I said, how you started e-commerce business? They said, we are selling it on Amazon. We are selling it on Noon. Yeah.
Nice.
Buying from Alibaba on a very cheap price. And then we are just delivering, and we are not maintaining any stock. And then, these are the small things which you start looking into it, and then you really get benefits out of it.
Yes, I agree. I think one of the benefits, again, if we want to look at the benefits and not at the disadvantages of this digital or technological revolution, it's democratizing learning, because there's a lot of free resources. When we were growing up as Generation X, even when we wanted to do project in school, we had to go to the library and look at so many books. Now, the resources are free. Learning, you just like you said, YouTube videos, and I know that you have many detailed and very educational YouTube videos on all those technologies, and everyone can learn. And also, it is very empowering, because as you gave the example, somebody could be sitting in a small country, just because of they have internet connection, they can start an e-commerce without having to build a to invest big capital to start a business. It's really just about learning and finding opportunities, and I think they are endless. We can look at how it is making us lose job, or we can look at the opportunities that these technologies are offering us.
I was doing some research on, after COVID-19, how what sort of businesses we can do after COVID-19, which business is going to pick up. So I have created one video. I mean, all of you can look at the details on my YouTube channel. And restaurants have been closed. The very big restaurants in New York, for example, or rest of the world, some of them just disappeared with the branches. And many people, they start cooking from home and then delivering it to the audience. Similarly, online teaching have become so popular around the world that because the kids can't go to the school, and the teacher who can speak, who can communicate, and they're using online tools to teach the kid. Perfect. People are making a decent living out of it. Similarly, YouTubers, for example, creating digital content. Let's say, for example, I am an entrepreneur. I record my videos, but I don't want to waste my time on doing the editing of those videos. So I need a specialist. So there are a lot of young kids who are specialized in video editing tools. They use it, and then they're covering their college and tuition fee out of it. So there are so many these small industries which you can pick up. You have your own time. You can do it from home, and it really helps you to basically to make an empire out of it. You can make it big as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Usman. Unfortunately, the time is over. It's you're always know how to enrich a discussion and how to bring useful insights to everyone, whether it's a student or a new entrepreneur or a government employee. You always have the right advice, how to remain relevant, how to make sure that you are catching up with the changes that will only continue to be fast and will continue to disrupt the way we do business, the way we live, and the way we interact with each other. And I think it's each of us listening to you today have a lot to think about, and we will also have the chance to listen to this video. And please, I invite you all to check Dr. Usman Zafar's other videos, and he explains about all these technologies. As I said, I've been listening to him more than 9 years talking about what is only now becoming pressing. Thank you, Dr. Usman. Thank you, everyone, for being with us this evening. And we will be sending you the link to the video once it's ready. And we'll say have a nice evening, and we'll see you next month with another guest on Sustained Leadership webinar series. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.